Hello people of the world, it is Ali here. Yes, so it's time. I promised myself I'd do this. I've been building up a lot of thoughts about Digimon Ghost game, and I've tried to kind of save them for when this series ends. I thought the ending would be quite important in terms of giving thoughts on the show, and now it's come to a close. I watched the last episode today. I will kind of structure this a little bit. It will mostly just be rambles, but I'll start by kind of selling it to those who haven't seen it. If you clicked on this video and have no idea what I'm talking about, and just explain generally what goes on, but then I'll just spew my thoughts with the knowledge of the ending, and also just kind of sprinkle in a couple of my previous Digimon experiences, I suppose. I mean, do keep in mind I'm not the best source of info. I have watched the original series, I've watched 02, I have watched Tamers and Frontier, and I've played Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory. I'm going to try and talk about things in terms of their characters and their partners, and keep in mind I'll just give minor spoilers throughout. There will be a big spoiler warning when I start talking about the ending, if you want to go in as blind as possible but just want my general consensus. Yes, I would recommend the series. I would say that it's probably best to start with the original series overall, but once you have a little bit of Digimon experience at least, you could come to this, because it's got a lot of Digimon-esque moments and I want to say tropes. I mean, this series, yeah, is definitely more attuned to people who have interest in Digimon already. They know how it works. I would say if you want to play a game to get into the series, Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory are very good starting points. I mean, also keep in mind that yes, this is made to be an episodic show, that's just how it is. You can watch the episodes in succession, but yeah, it works well as an episodic show, but it does also give it its benefits and detriments. I will get to that later. I'm also going to leave a list of episodes that I feel are essential and those that could be skipped in the comments. I mean, do keep in mind everything stated here is my own personal opinion and views. There's not a lot of objectiveness here, there is just my views, trying not to headcanon things and bias things too much, but it is all my personal takes on the series, so I recommend that you make your own judgments as to maybe what episodes you want to watch, or just your overall thoughts. I just thought I'd give my 2 cents. So this bit is going to be a little bit spontaneous. I'm going to have to remember what I wrote, because unfortunately part of my script got deleted, meaning that I now don't have the parts that I was going to originally speak for Rui and Hiro. So let's do this spontaneously. So Hiro as a protagonist. I mean, I really liked him as a protagonist. I thought that overall his character development was a lot more subtle than other protagonists, and a lot of other characters in Digimon for that matter. His character was very human, I have to say. He's a character who's smart and intelligent, but also can't say no to things. And I mean, that's a really interesting character trait to have. It, as I said, means that his character development is a lot more subtle, but over the course of the series, it works well because he eventually has to set his boundaries. I do think that Hiro, despite having subtle growth, actually does evolve as a protagonist throughout the series. His character flaw has been mentioned a couple of times by other characters in the show, saying he's too nice, or he does things for people a little bit too leniently. And yeah, you can see that growth gradually happening. The more that he interacts with Mons of the Week, the way that he treats them becomes slightly different towards the end of the show and throughout the show. I think in terms of my protagonist ranking, definitely Hiro is a very close second, with the first place kind of being shared by Takato and Tai. I kind of flip between them as to who's my favourite, but I would say Hiro is very close up there. Gammamon actually, in terms of partner Digimon for protagonists, I would say is probably top. Kind of a similar situation but flipped, because I do fight in my brain as to whether I prefer Agumon or Guillamon, but I would say Gammamon is just above them. I absolutely love Gammamon. I love his relationship with Hiro, where they actually act like brothers. I really like how they can get mad at each other, that they can protect each other, care for each other at the same time. They have a real brotherly relationship, which is something that's quite unique to them. I've always found his little way of talking and the way that he talks throughout the series and refers to different things just perfect, absolutely iconic. And I have to say, the voice actress, I believe that she does Mirai in the Digimon story games, and I thought that that was like as amazing as she was going to get. No, she is incredible as all of Gamamon and Gamamon's evolutions. I also really like the fact that the evolutions are themed after the RGB color wheel, the red, blue, and green, and each evolution is characterized slightly differently. I just found that great. Of course, it does change with the Ultimate and Mega, but I just liked the champion forms as well. Moments involving them, I would say definitely I really enjoy any episode with Gurus. I know people have quite strong opinions on him, but can't really mention Gamamon without mentioning Gurus, and Gurus definitely makes a show of it, definitely steals the show every time that an episode with him is involved. And no matter people's opinions, my personal take on it is I think they executed his episodes rather well. Otherwise, I would say the moment that Gamamon broke Hiro's phone and tablet, both times were absolutely hilarious. And I like it, that's very realistic as well. You're not going to have a creature in your house like Gamamon who doesn't do that kind of thing. I think the multiple moments that Hiro is subject to Mon of the Week, which doesn't happen often, but all of those moments were great because you just got to see Gamamon being protective of Hiro. I also have to add that basically every single Evolution debut episode is absolutely fantastic in Ghost Game. Probably my favourite episode involving Hiro and Gamamon is actually Impurity. Maybe a bit of a typical answer, but Impurity is a fantastic episode. Although now we move on to Ruri, whose section was also unfortunately deleted from my notepad. Ruri, I would have to say, whilst not being my favourite character of the show, was again quite realistically written. I really like how she's a realistic teenager who at the moment doesn't really know what she's doing. She's trying out all sorts of different things, whether it be photography, of course her social media account, Lidurun, piano, go-karting, all of that stuff, and that still happens throughout the show. I also really like Ruri and Angramon's partnership. I thought it was really well executed in the way that they both have completely different personalities and yet have this subtle growth where they have to learn to work with one another. Whilst Angramon is a lot more laid back and reserved, Ruri is a lot more outgoing and fun, and that clashes a lot, and I just find that great that they address that and that that's a big part of their growth together. I just love how chill that Angramon is about things, but then he actually ends up being this whole fountain of knowledge for all the digital monsters that come their way, and he's really the one that they rely on in order to them to get information. And I just really like the little proverbs that he says at the end of every episode. It's just something that I always look forward to, and a lot of his words mean a lot to me, and it also just shows that he's learning from the human world as well by saying them. I just think it's really cute, and it's been really strange with the last few episodes not having them, similarly to how, looking back on the first few episodes until his debut, they didn't have any of these proverbs, and it was a bit strange. I don't know, I just feel like he's a very comforting presence. Favourite episodes and moments involving Ruri and Angramon? Of course, Angramon's debut. Definitely the episode Night Parade is a very fun one. I also enjoyed the episode Cannibal Mansion and the Killer Blade, I believe they were called. And unfortunately I can't remember the name of the episode, but the one involving Repamon. And although I kind of count this as a Ruri and a Kiyoshiro episode, Frigid Hell is a fantastic episode, one of my favourites in the series. Of course, can't forget the Evolution debut episodes. Whilst the Champion debut is okay, I do really like the Ultimate debut, and the Mega debut was fantastic as well. But damn, I have a really hard time deciding my favourite Mega, I just realised, because I really am so proud of Angramon in his Mega. For those who have seen, you know why, probably. I just think his Mega is amazing, I'm so proud of him. But the others are fantastic as well, and it's really hard to decide my favourite. I swear it switches every day. And now we move on to Kiyoshiro, whose section was not deleted, and yes, he is my favourite character. I know that's a lot of bias, but hands down he is. Yes, he may be an absolute cringe fail of a man, but he's just so much fun to watch. He does his absolute best. He does actually have some intelligent moments where he actually uses his expansive knowledge to help the group. He can talk in IT. He just doesn't have any social skills. And dude, same. He just wants to be the heroes that he sees in manga and anime, and I just find all of that into one being the best combination in a character. He's definitely the writer's favourite punching bag though. I've stated this before, but he's the first one to get himself caught or into trouble. But he does definitely grow throughout the course of the series though. It's certainly clear that towards the end of the series he knows when he's stepping out of line or that he's getting a bit too freaked out. Definitely he understands by the end that he needs to control himself a little bit more. And this may be a bit of a headcanon, but I appreciate him for getting through his just sheer loneliness and coming to terms with appreciating people. Seeing him realize that there are people that accept him, like Hiro, like Ruri, like Jellymon, like Angromon, like Gamamon, and that he accepts them too, like, that's just amazing. Jellymon definitely is, I mean, probably my favourite Digimon partner of all time. Terriermon is still very close second, but I just find Jellymon an absolute delight to watch. She's cheeky, she's fun, she does her own thing without any regard for the consequences, but at the same time she grows to actually properly appreciate Kiyoshiro as a person and then appreciate other people and learning to appreciate other humans as well. Her businesses are always set up with good intentions, but she just actually then learns what goes wrong with them and then actually accepts that and then learns how to accept humans as a whole, and I just find that growth absolutely amazing. And she and Ruri have a very cute friendship thanks to her similarities, but also her similarities and differences to Kiyoshiro just make them a really good pair, and they just work so well together. Favourite episodes and moments for them, definitely the episode Nightmare was a lot of fun despite its title. I also really liked the Shrine episode as well, that's one of the later ones. Of course, the debut episode, and yes, of course, the Mega and Ultimate debuts, all of that. I was okay with her Champion debut, it was fine, but the Mega and Ultimate debuts were so much cooler. I think Jellymon had the best debuts of any of the Megas and Ultimates. Specifically, the Mega is actually probably my favourite episode of the entire series, if you can't tell by the way that I've been talking about Jellymon and Kiyoshiro, because that is just the epitome of their growth. I like the episode so much I'm basing part of a Digimon TCG deck around it, and yes, please give us Cathylamon in the TCG, I need Cathylamon. So now I've been through the characters to take a look at the series overall. I mean, I could watch a lot of the early episodes in succession, but to be honest, there is a lot of, especially later ones, that I would just skip and then watch some of the later episodes that actually are amazing. Like, some of the later episodes definitely have the best content in the whole series, but the filler episodes are a lot more filler. I guess that's one of the benefits of being an episodic show, because it means every episode has a beginning, middle, and end, and it develops each mon of the week. It gives them a backstory explanation. I mean, yes, nothing on the level of like something like Impmon from Tamers. Honestly, I don't even know whether Impmon could be topped, but even some of the enemy Digimon get a fair bit of development. I was really happy about Mummymon and Clockmon, but even ones that were very brief, like Quartzmon or Raremon, they all get their moments and explanations. I found that really enjoyable. Now to go into a little bit of negatives, but I mean, for one, Espimon. If, like me, you were tricked into thinking he was going to be a lot more significant and interesting and his whole deal would lead somewhere, no. Unfortunately, no. I have to be honest here, because I don't also want to get anyone's hopes up if they don't know already about Espimon. I just found him a little bit irking and unsatisfying. Same with the other side characters, they really don't do a whole lot. Unlike side characters of other series, they weren't memorable for me at all. This is fine because the main team make up for all the side characters being not as involved, but sometimes the side characters I feel like are really treated as more important than I feel like they actually are. But now we delve into the ending, so we're going into proper spoiler territory here. Please abandon now if you don't want to spoil yourself, abandon ship. But there will be huge spoilers, every single spoiler from the ending, even the card game as well. You have been very warned. But this ending I love and dislike. So negative aspects out the way, I definitely think the ending was rushed. It was clearly not given enough time and it needed to be extended over at least a few more episodes. They don't have to have it span over half the series because yes, that's not what Ghost Game is about, it's an episodic show. But for how highly anticipated the ending was and for how much it needed to wrap up that was set up, it definitely didn't work with just roughly 3 episodes. It needed a lot more time to conclude, at least 6 episodes minimum, especially when it's not going to be a series that's going to last for hundreds of more episodes. They need a lot longer to conclude this show. There are plenty of situations that haven't been resolved. I mean, specifically, the big one is Moon Millennium Mon, but my biggest confusion overall is just, why not Proxima Mon? I just thought that was how Sirius Mon would be saved at the end. I suppose that what we got will have to do, and I'm content with Gurus living inside of Gammamon, but even so, it was a bit of a abrupt way to end it, without actually debuting Proximamon, who may or may not be stuck in the card game now. Unless they do a movie, I would really like to think that even if we don't get another series, we're going to get a movie with the grown-up cast. It's going to take many years, but I'm laying down my prediction now that we will hopefully be getting a film that shows this whole new Digimon country that they're making and all the characters dealing with the calamity that's approaching, because there must be something that will speed it up and they'll have to deal with it. But to be honest, with the fact that it did end up with them all being spokespersons for the Digimon, and we're making a safe space for Digimon to go, that part I loved. I really enjoyed the ending regardless. To delve into Gurus a little bit more, as I've probably hinted at, I do really enjoy Gurus Gammamon as a villain. I do feel like the subtitles towards the end of the show don't do him justice. The way that he talks and his tone ends up having a different weight to it. And having him be the original personality of Gammamon when he first came to the digital world, and then just having his Gammamon personality be the thing that developed over time and what Hiro sees. Like, I mean, yes, we don't get a full explanation, which is another slightly negative point, but we do get a vague explanation for that, and it puts a big spin on the tropes of the other previous Digimon series. They have dark evolutions due to the characters' turmoils that I really like that. But I think the difference with Ghost Game, why they had to do this, is because Hiro doesn't really have a really big inner turmoil. Because Hiro is already a smart kid, he knows that he shouldn't be so desperate for power, and he's not actually put in situations where that changes entirely. If he is, then it results in a evolution. So instead you have to have a character like Gurus who tries to cross the lines that Hiro tries to set up. I'm just really glad that they got to stick together in the end. I was really terrified we'd have an ending of the cast all just separating, which would really hurt considering these are some of the best partner Digimon dynamics we've ever seen in the series. But instead they're working together. That's exactly the point of Ghost Game. It's meant to show how humans and technology and Digimon all work together in harmony. That's exactly what the closeness of the main gang shows as well. They're like a family to each other. They want to teach humans and Digimon that they can find family between themselves and each other as well, which I find is a perfect message to end on. But overall, I really enjoyed Ghost Game. Regardless of its ups and downs, it kept me going week by week. I'm just really going to miss it when next week I'm only going to have Precure to watch on a Sunday. It's been a really fun ride. I'm just grateful to these characters for keeping me company every week and for pulling me into the Digimon franchise further as a whole. So thank you, Ghost Game, and until we meet again. And thank you so much for watching, people of the world. Please do let me know if this formula works. I have been thinking about doing this type of video for a while now, but I've just not really been sure how speed paints and me just rambling would work too well together. that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later, people of the world.